Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are glad to welcome you once again in the studio in Moscow, where we are commentating on first leg of FIDE Grand Prix this year, first leg of 2019 Grand Prix series, the tournament in Moscow, and today we have the first game of round 2. So 8 players left, and during next week or 2 weeks rather, right, we will know the name of the winner of the first leg of Grand Prix. Daniil, Yuffa and myself, we will be your co-hosts for today's broadcast as well as all the other broadcasts. So, Daniil, hi, and what do you think we should be looking at today? I mean, what will be our game of the round? We have 4 games, 8 players, right? Well, actually, we do have the players roster, so we can once again see who already has got eliminated. So let's quickly go through.
Yeah, so the top seeds, Anish Giri
and Mamedov and Shakhyar Mamedov, they left the tournament.
Yeah, both two top seeds left the tournament, and Daniil Dubov and Radoslav Wojtaszek
advanced through. Yes, then we lost Sergei Karvyakin, who lost to Alexander Kryshchuk, and Levon Aronian was eliminated by Jan Nepomniachtchi. That were the highest seeds, let's put it this way.
Yes, and Jan Krzysztof Duda and Dmitry Yakovenko lost their matches against Wesley So and Wei respectively.
Yeah, Timur Rojabov got eliminated in the tiebreak yesterday against Hikaru Nakamura, and Nikita Vityugov lost to Peter Swidler. So for today we have Daniil Dubov playing against Hikaru Nakamura.
Yes, so you just asked me what can be the game of the day, and it may be a bit optimistic, but I would rather bet on Nakamura against Dubov, because Daniil shows some kind of incredible chess this tournament. I mean, with some kind of mistakes, but I mean, you all know that we do not use engines, and obviously players do not use engines because of fair play rules, and it looks like Daniil is just trying to win any position with any color, and we'll see what he's going to do today.
Yeah, absolutely. So far the brightest play, let's put it this way.
Obviously.
Yeah. So while maybe not all the time mathematically correct, but he really shown a very exciting play. So indeed, Hikaru Nakamura will have the white pieces. It might be tricky in this regard, and I'm curious to see if Daniil today will choose something a bit more solid, or will stay true to his style. Right here, 2 gentlemen at your screen, Alexander Kryshchuk and Wesley So. Alex Kryshchuk will have the white pieces in game 1.
And famous Nora Prindishvili behind them.
Great women's world champion, or ex-world champion as of now. Yeah, she is the honorable guest to make a first move in the game between Kryshchuk and Wesley So. So we could see it was 1d4. I'm not sure if Kryshchuk will play 1d4.
Yes.
Because he's, well...
Yes, but Kryshchuk can play almost any opening with white, but usually he starts with e-pawn, and yeah, so we'll see. I mean, he plays against Wesley So, who is quite solid with black pieces, but Kryshchuk managed to win a very complicated game against Sergei Karvyakin in round 1, so we'll see what he will manage to get out from the opening.
Wei with white against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and if you remember yesterday off air we had a little chat about Jan being very successful against Chinese players, which is very strange generalization, because obviously the players from China, there is quite a number of good players with various styles, with different approaches to the game, and still it looks like Nepo has very good score against nearly all of them.
Yes, and despite the fact that the new generation of Chinese players is maybe one of the strongest, I mean, franchise, but Nepomniachtchi performs quite well against them. So we'll see what will if Wheel is possible to, I mean,
kind of to improve the statistics.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think it was Wei himself whom Nepomniachtchi beat in Kazakhstan in World Team, right? I think he won a game against Wei.
I think he won a game against Evgeny.
Oh no, that was
it was like a
right.
Petrov
It was
defense,
board
yeah.
2. Yeah, that was this Petrov. Yeah, right. By the way, Wei plays Petrov as well. I
Yes,
mean, if
yes.
now we are talking about game 2, possibly, right? So if in game 2 where Nepo will be
Yeah, we
white,
have some predictions about
he will go e4 and
opening game 2. So the games.
yeah, and then
started.
let's not forget we have one more pair. Peter Swidler will have the white pieces against Radoslav Wojtaszek. So, and yeah, I just had a little chat with Peter 5 minutes before the start, and he said he was a bit surprised with the colors because, well, they played 2 games. So for some, it might seem it doesn't really matter. Right, I mean, you play with white and you play with black, but yeah, once again, I mean, for such experienced players, sometimes it's like having white being a second game in a match. Maybe, well, it depends, but for some it is an advantage, for some it is disadvantage. So the point being that by the old rules, the highest seed plays with the white pieces, and Radek Wojtaszek, after winning against Mamedyarov, he would kind of pick up his numbers.
Yes.
So he would be higher seated than Peter,
Right.
despite the actual rating, right?
And you know, like as you told that Peter was surprised with colors, and now he spent some time in the opening. I wonder if he prepared for the game 1 with white pieces.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, he said he's got an email from the chief arbiter
Okay.
yesterday. So it wasn't like you come to the game, you discover you play with the
Yes,
with the other color.
You know, but once I had the same situation, I've totally forgot that so I had like 2 games in a row against Russian grandmasters Alexander Predke and Daniil Dubov, and I saw that I'm playing against Predke first, but then I came to the round and I saw that I'm playing against Daniil Dubov, but with the same color.
Yeah,
but
so the
the
color was the
completely
same,
different
but
opening,
yeah, but different opponent. Okay, so and here in Peter's game I can see e4, and then there was no surprise that Wojtaszek went for Sicilian, and it wasn't the open Sicilian, but I believe it was bishop b5 check.
Maybe we
line.
can start from this very game.
Yeah, so, and since we have less games, only 4 games in this round, yeah, compared to the previous where we had 8, I believe we will have more time to spend on each game.
Yes, we
so
can focus more deeply.
we'll try to explain the openings a bit more in detail, and so on and so on. Yeah. So let's start with this game. Let's try to take a look at what the opening was.
Yeah, so it was
So
Rossalima.
bishop b5. No, well, I'm actually not sure. I think Rossalima, you call it with knight c6, bishop b5, and this one, I mean, like
Probably,
in Soviet
yeah.
books, everything which is
maybe
bishop
I'm
b5 was.
I'm not well known with.
Yeah, for some reason it was called Moscow variation. I mean, the proper Moscow variation is the one in Slav
Slav, yeah,
defense. Yeah,
with
bishop
h6.
b5, h6. But this, I believe, in some kind of Soviet periodic.
Okay, maybe
or-
we can call it anti-neither.
Okay, anyway, that's bishop b5 check. Let's go Sicilian bishop b5
Yeah.
check. Right, so bishop b5, avoiding the main lines, and then, to my surprise, I mean, I believe Wojtaszek always plays knight d7. So, to be honest,
Yes, because
I'm
it's
not sure.
completely different type of position.
Yeah, it's like okay, knight c6 is a thing of its own, right?
Yes.
Knight c6, then white, castles, and
Like
if knight f6, he can take, I guess, no? Takes
I
e5
think
is.
this is one of the very bishop
No,
f1 or bishop
a6. No,
c4.
a6. I'm pretty sure white's going
Yeah,
to
sorry, bishop d7.
Bishop
of course,
d7.
yeah,
You
yeah.
have to play bishop
Yeah,
d7,
sorry.
c3, and
Yes,
then
yeah,
after a6,
yeah.
you can go to
Bishop
f1. you
f1 or
can-
bishop c4.
Yeah.
So there is
There is this old-fashioned gambit taking on c6, going
yes, and
d4.
d4. Right.
Yeah, so that if black takes, white gets some, some
Yes,
initiative.
but the evaluation is as usual. The position is equal.
yeah,
Yeah, because I analyzed it recently, and
Right, and then after okay, that's knight c6. The other option after bishop b5 is bishop d7, which leads to somewhat more simplistic positions. White usually takes, even though both a4 and c4 have some point. But usually white takes, and then queen takes is kind of more common. And then once again a crossroad for white. White can go c4, and that's considered to be like the most principal attempt, to go c4 and then later d4, and to get I'd say like Marozzi formation.
Yeah, it reminds Marozzi, but
without the light square bishop, so it's somewhat different. Or instead of c4, the other thing is to go castle, rook e1, c3, d4, something like that. That's very common.
This is one of the well-known lines.
Takes, they go d5, e5, knight here, knight e2, very popular in blitz.
And this reminds the French defense, but again without light-colored bishops, which can probably be in black's favor.
That's sort of beneficial for black. Right, and then after knight d7, once again the most straightforward move is d2, d4. I believe a lot of games were played with d2, d4, and the capture with the queen, of course. So it has some logic, right? Because usually you can go 3, d4, and then take with the queen. But knight c6 is the problem. So now you kind of distract the knight to d7, and then you take with the queen. But okay, it's like a6 they play, I guess. Takes, c4, right? And then what? e5, h6?
e5.
Like 5, queen d3, and
queen c7.
I mean, there are some finishes, like sometimes you play h6 to prevent bishop g5, or start with queen c7, b5 immediately. That's another position. And what Peter is doing, just simply castling, and then after a6 going to d3. So it's sort of an attempt to play it in, I don't know. I would call it
first of all, when I saw this position, I saw that probably Peter is going to go to this line, which occurred in Carlsen against Topalov. So if it starts from rook e1, obviously.
It's
and after b5, which is possible, there is c4 and g5. So this is tempting.
But since then, I believe a lot of it's kind of
So this line is probably.
This looks just good, no?
I mean, it's like a kind of a very, very complicated position, which is probably in white's favor, but it's a complete mess on the board, and I believe the chances, in terms of humans playing, are almost equal.
Okay, no, but what Peter did was it's like a more positional thing, I believe. Rook e1, e6.
E6 for the reaction by
e6, a4.
a4.
So the bishop on d3 is only on the way of white's pawn, but white is planning to go c3. Bishop will find its place on c2.
Yes, but maybe another option is to start with c3, because we can pinch after b5. Maybe we can pinch with a4 there. And this is maybe another theoretical position.
But that's sort of a theory. They go c4, I believe, and then once again, you probably have to know.
It's very difficult to understand where black may play b5 and where it can be.
That's like just a weakness. Okay. Anyway, now in our game, Peter went a4, b6. Now, of course, black is happy to play b6 because b5 is
probably
not possible at all. C3, bishop b7 quickly. So the real question is, bishop c2 is practically automatic, even though Peter is thinking, what's their reaction after bishop c2? That would be my question.
It may be a wise decision by Peter, because in very, very few moves we will see some Ruy Lopez structures.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say, that white is playing the Sicilian kind of in style, in shape of Ruy Lopez. And
and it's like it was said in USSR that Tigran Peterson was feeding his family with kings in defense.
Probably we can try to say the same about Peter and Ruy Lopez with both colors, by the way. So bishop c2, bishop e7, I suspect. You have to develop. And then I'm really curious what's black's reaction after d4. So I suspect it does involve d5 in some way, or kind of c takes perhaps, or an immediate d5. This I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a little bit better
It's
to
like
start with
if-
d5. Like we are not allowing White's knight to go to c3. I mean,
yeah, that's usually the logic.
At some point it
if
may
you
be
don't
an
want to,
improvement.
yeah, you don't want to take on d4 too early, so that White knight cannot go to c3.
right.
But then without the capture, maybe.
Yes, I mean,
you-
like if e5 is a real threat there.
so you,
if I
you
just
mean,
simply
just
castle,
yeah, could be as well. Castle. Okay, let's say White goes knight d2. So
Yeah.
then once again, the difference might be that now it's not very attractive for Black to go d5, because after e5 the knight cannot go to e4, but maybe Black can wait one more move, like in this position, to take on d4 now, since the knight is already not coming to c3, and then play a waiting move like rook c8, queen, I mean, I don't know, yeah, rook c8 for instance. So now if knight leaves to f1, then possibly you might play
Maybe I have
b5.
it, I mean, maybe I have just something like queen c7 there.
Queen c7 or rook c7. Sometimes they do rook c7, queen a8.
And yes, rook c7
yeah,
is
like
also possible.
like a reti opening stuff. Yeah, rook c7.
Yeah,
queen
and some,
to
he-
a- queen
some
to a8,
hedgehog
rook-
ideas.
mhm. Queen to a8, rook to c8. Yeah, so White will get slight space advantage in this case, but Black's position is well, is quite solid. And we can expect, you know, like kind of a long game with a lot of pieces still on the board.
Yes, but it may explode in any moment, at any moment. I mean, just like, so I think d4 is coming very, very soon.
Yeah, the bishop is still on d3. I mean, well, it does look like Peter is looking for an alternative or what. I mean, I'm not quite sure what alternatively what plan can you play in this position.
I don't know.
Wait, in some cases it was 95 for Black. Can this be? That's like bishop c. No, knight a3.
He played, yeah, he starts with knight a3.
Interesting. Knight a3.
Yeah, maybe you're right, and after bishop c2, Peter just didn't like knight e5 immediately.
95? Yeah, but I mean, if we go d4, so he just exchanges one pair of knights, and then yeah, which is usually beneficial for the side who has
Yes.
less space.
Yes.
Yeah, could be. So he goes knight a3, but then
Yeah, but does knight a3 prevents knight e5 there?
knight e5 if Black wants it. I'm not sure. Yeah, once again, those positions, they are tricky. After knight e5, I believe the other way to play for White is just to take on e5. And we get a very strange looking position where the pieces of both sides will be really, really restricted, like minor piece
Yeah.
activity, right? This pawns in the center, like the e6, e5 pawn, they prevent like practically all white pieces from being active, all black pieces from being active. So knight a3, queen to c7, queen e2. So there is definitely something, you know, some little nuance in this position that we might not know, but both players are aware of. Because, yeah, it's like queen e2 doesn't seem to be an obvious move.
Yes, but the players
well as queen c7.
ensuring us that knight e5 probably is not the best, because, okay, we all know that Rudislav Wojtaszk is very good
At opening
at theory,
preparation, yeah.
yes, and I wonder he saw this position many times.
So queen c7, queen e2, bishop e7 was played. The fact is that with all those like tricky move orders and everything, White still has to look for d4, d2, d4 one day. I mean, it's like
But what about bishop b1 there?
bishop b1. Might as well play bishop b1.
Yeah, but it looks a bit illogical that we start with knight e3 and queen e2 and then playing bishop b1.
Yeah.
Or maybe we just simply
what else can
don't
he do?
understand something.
Wait a sec. I mean, if we keep the bishop on d3, is b4 ever an idea? I mean, very unlikely, right? Because I don't want to take on c. No, I just thought like b4 and then b5, but then black just takes, not caring too much about giving the square on b5. That's the feeling.
Probably.
I mean, it's
Or
like
maybe
we
they-
go
they-
b4.
they
Black
just-
doesn't want to take on b4, I suspect, right? Or maybe he. Let's say black castles.
Like, what about
95
95 again?
nevertheless. And then let's say I'm taking on e5 and going b5. Very strange position again. Now if black wants to block everything, then at least I will have a very nice square on
Yes.
c4.
No, it has a real sense there, I see. I mean, because I think a6, a5 is not in black's favor.
Yeah,
Because knight c4 and
Knight
you have a
c4,
very,
yeah,
very easy
somehow
plan.
I do have some plan, like bishop to c2 b3, d2
yeah,
d3, and then maybe to look for f2 f4
Yes.
in some positions.
Yeah, so the bishop is totally restricted, and obviously that white have
Yeah,
a-
and then
an
instead of
advantage.
a5, if you try to take on b5, maybe it's like maybe white. I don't know. In this case, what do? Do I take? I might take with the bishop actually, and pretend to do the same. Like the bishop takes d3, knight c4,
Like, even if I play bishop c6.
bishop c6, d3.
Like castling.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't look nice for white now that I now that I look
No,
at
I
this
mean,
position.
it may be like just playable.
I don't like the fact that my a pawn is weak, for instance, in this case.
But you have some b5 square, and probably in some positions you just want to take with knight and then to double
That
on b
could be.
file. Because like if you're trying play for white, I'm trying play for black, I don't like this bishop on e7.
Yeah,
because
but
it's-
e7 is not very
yeah.
is not very proud fella. But anyway, b4 is not what you usually do in these positions. I just thought like to look for for an original way. If white chose to play such a strange, I would say,
Tricky order.
tricky move order. Yeah, well, he could just go bishop c2, d4. So possibly there is some other plan than just going for d4. And I thought, okay, maybe what else could it be, right? And okay, just seen b4. Why not to try? Okay, let's leave Peter thinking. It seems that the position is, well, okay, maybe he knows it, but doesn't seem that he'll play it very fast, right? So we can say that this transposition between or transition from the opening to middle game has already started.
And I propose to switch to another Sicilian.
Yeah, we have another Sicilian VE with white against Jan Nepomniachtchi, where same bishop b5 check was played, right?
Yes, but d4.
Bishop b5 check.
Yeah, so
Yeah, the line
all
that
start
we've
from the very
mentioned.
beginning.
So we have two Sicilians with bishop b5, knight d7 here. This time it's VE against Nepomniachtchi. Well, interestingly enough, I do remember VE won quite a lot of games in Nidus with white, right? He's playing bishop g5 and very
Yes.
sharp lines, and a lot of like nice games he won there. So the fact that he went for bishop b5 check, it shows the respect to Jan Nepomniachtchi's opening preparation, right?
But,
So
but
he
Ja-
decided
Jan
not to
plays neither for a very long time, and I think it's quite difficult
to surprise him.
to make him feel surprised.
So a check, knight to d7, and as we said, the other possible option for white was actually played in this game. d4, c takes, queen takes,
Yes, knight c3 there
knight
instead
c3.
of c4,
So instead of c4, he's
which is probably more flexible. h6, knight d2
h6,
there.
yeah, knight d2. So the knight is heading towards d5 square.
Yeah.
Rook c8, knight to c4, knight to e3.
H6.
Castles? Mhm.
Yes, bishop e7 and a4.
Purely positional approach, in
Yes.
fact. a4, b3, I suspect. Okay, I'm not sure where this bishop from c1 is going. You can
Probably
try
to
b3,
a3.
bishop a3, or bishop b2, or
And then rook d1, bishop e1, and f3 at some
yeah,
point.
that's also possible. So the conflict in such position is about the d5 square, right? If white can make good use of d5 square, like then he's probably somewhat better. Black's say
just-
counterplay resources are not very rich in this position, but at the same time he will be pressing over the c file, right?
Yeah.
That's usually what they do.
Yeah, the pawn structure is very common in this type of neither for Sveshnikov, and I mean, usually black just don't care about d5 square, and they're trying to have some counterplay on c file, or trading a pair of knights and playing f5 at some point. So
Yeah, the other thing is sometimes the knight from f6 leaves to say d7,
Yeah,
and bishop
d7.
g5 is
Yes.
also the idea.
yeah,
Okay,
so we'll
so
see
that's-
it maybe a long positional game,
Yeah, once again, no immediate clash in this one.
which is very unlikely for Wei and Jan.
No, well, something. Yeah, when such two players playing each other, I believe
Yeah.
something will happen in this game sooner or later, right? So some, some complications will
Cure.
will appear on the board. So moving on, Grishuk.
Yeah.
Grishuk against Wesley So. Let's find out if one d4 was played. Well, it was.
I should admit that, like as we said, that probably Nakamura Dubov may be the game of the day. We
So
are
we
leaving
are-
it as a cherry on a pie.
Yeah. So we are postponing it for
Yeah.
as long as possible. Visiting Nakamura and Daniil Dubov. So d4 indeed from Grishuk.
Yeah, so he accepted Nonaga Prindashvili's proposal, and
d4,
D4
c4, and I'm trying to recall Wesley So's repertoire. He's not the guy who is playing Grunfeld, right? So Grishuk was safe going 1 d4 in
Yes,
this
I think.
regard. Yeah. Wesley is known to play various Queen's Gambits, or I'm not sure about Ragozin. Yeah. So this
Yeah,
time Queen's Gambit, e3, b6, and that's kind of the modern way they play the Queen's Gambit, right?
yeah,
And
so there is
is-
no c5
yeah,
there.
there is always c5, which once again was brought to the highest stage in the World Championship match this year.
Yes,
And,
and also knight bd7, which is maybe
this
the
is
most solid continuation.
this is
there.
mysterious because knight bd7 it kind of reappeared during the candidates matches in Kazan. This line in 2011,
Yeah,
and then for some reason the slowly it practically vanished from the highest level practice, even though nobody showed the refutation, right? I mean, people still from time to time play, make comfortable draw with black.
yeah, we
and
may guess that they just consider this position for black as very passive, and
you mean the line knight d7 c5? This
yes, yeah, I
with
mean, like with
blockade,
extra space for white. Yeah, so
nobody wants to suffer, even though
Right.
it's like it's solid, but giving your opponent a chance to play risk-free for another 30-40 moves, it's not to everyone's liking. Okay, b6, c takes, knight takes, queen takes. I believe that's all kind of a theory. Check from a5, knight e2, and bishop a6 castles, c5. Ah, that's interesting. Okay.
yeah, but looks very, very logical.
Knight c4, takes on d4, pawn takes on d4.
Yes, so pawn takes,
Yeah.
not queen. Or maybe
What was wrong with queen takes?
maybe Grishuk sees something forced after taking with pawn. I mean, like
Yeah, it's
probably black may not defend from d5. Yeah, but let's check.
first of all, I suspect it is known to the players. I mean, what's
It might be.
yeah. So what's here? Bishop f6 or yeah, I'm wondering where the knight is going. I mean, maybe bishop f6, by the way, so that after queen e4 I will play knight d7. Yeah, and I'm not sure what else. White
Maybe I
does.
should restrict
queen
it somehow.
d6. Yeah, like this move. Queen d6.
Like maybe there is nothing if you take on b2.
Rook b1 and bishop,
Bishop
a3.
a3.
Yeah, might be just a pawn up.
Yes.
Yeah, weird. The knight will be developed somehow via a6 or something. Yeah, knight a6, and then to c5.
Yeah, so probably
It's once again in such positions, white practically always has enough resources to make a draw,
Yeah, to
even a
equalize.
pawn down with two bishops. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so
anyway.
bishop f6 is probably a refutation.
Yeah, okay, I just thought queen e4, knight d7, and then knight gets to c5. Perhaps still comfortable position for black. The feeling, okay, do we have time of the players? I mean, time spent on each move.
E takes d4 like
ED4
1.5 minutes.
1.5 minutes. It doesn't look like he was seriously considering, right? So now after ED4, Wesley Saw is thinking. Yeah, and I mean, in Grishuk's universe, obviously, I mean, he doesn't play a novelty not spending like 40 minutes on it, right? So that means CD4, it's all prepared, and it's like spending 1 minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes sometimes. It means Alexander Grishuk is recalling the lines he has prepared. Okay, so what's up now? White has an isolated pawn on d5. On d4, but yeah, but d5 is always in the air, right?
Yes, on
d5 is
d4,
always
yeah.
in the air. And black's position, I mean, while solid, it's he's a little bit not in time. I'd say one tempo is missing, because if knight would already go like knight d7 and knight f6 in this position, so like controlling d5, he would be very happy. Knight c6, I suspect d5 is what you have to care about.
Yeah, which is the most principled.
But then rook d8, yeah. I mean, maybe we have to say that if black takes, I mean, for some, let's say, less experienced viewers, so if black takes, queen takes, or well, yeah, queen takes, bishop takes, such positions are usually like really bad for black, strangely enough. I mean, you might think, okay, symmetrical structure, my opponent has two bishops, but I don't have any weaknesses, big deal. But these bishops, they will attack, they'll control just all the board in couple of minutes.
Yeah, they will just invade.
So that's usually is very pessimistic scenario for black.
Right.
So that's why we are looking for some ways for black, you know, to not to allow d5 or.
Yes. And this position and simplicity of this position is that you really don't have to calculate a lot of continuations. You just have to put your pieces, put your rooks at the center, and probably trade all of them, and then like
bring the king in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, usually this is, yeah, just believe us, it's a very, very hard position for black to defend. If it's defendable, it's very hard to defend.
Yes,
right,
rook d8
but rook d8 would be like a real question.
Okay, I'm trying not to be very optimistic, and I'm not considering d takes c6.
Well, I was, but I don't see how to make
I'm trying to force myself to
work.
Calculate normal.
Well, actually, no, but let's take, yeah, rook d1, rook fd1. No, that's very tricky, in fact, because first I've rejected the whole thing because of queen c5, but there is rook c1.
Yeah,
rook c1, so that if queen takes, it's bishop. No, bishop d5, you can give the queen back.
Yeah, so that's why
a bishop
I was
e2.
wondering. Yeah, but probably there is still nothing, like you still can take there,
bishop
and
f3.
after bishop f3, just simply play there.
Take the other bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's clever.
And in this opposite colored bishops, I think
that's
just
clever.
the position is in black's favor, probably.
Yeah, bishop takes a8, queen takes f4, black gets the pawn as well.
Yeah.
And then f2 is weak, bishop c4, g6, bishop c5, yeah.
Okay, probably white is still equal, I mean, playing like rook c1 and rook c2, but you do
But
not
it's only
really
black
pretend
who's trying,
to be
yeah.
better. Yeah.
It's only black who's trying, so our queen sack was overly optimistic. But then if we cannot sacrifice the queen after rook fd8, what we are supposed to do? Black is about to take our pawn.
Maybe.
That's a rook c. No.
Maybe there's something like this.
Okay, takes.
No, you take and before d takes. No, but maybe.
No, before, yeah. That's an exchange, right?
Maybe there's a good compensation for black there.
Takes on d1, fd1, and then knight a5. Yeah, another tricky position. Yes, well, 2 pawns as of now. if black like has enough time to put the bishop on f6, a pawn
Yes.
on c3, then he's not worse at all. He might be even better.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that I'm in time. Maybe I have to play bishop e5 there, but okay, I mean, looks like the black's compensation for an exchange is it might be enough. I mean, at least to equalize. So a3, e takes d5. I mean, probably there might be something
Queen
else.
c5.
Yeah, but queen c5, I had a
The rook c1.
slight
yeah,
idea
queen
that I
c5
have
is,
some
queen
like
c5
bishop
is bad.
a6
Yeah, no,
there.
but bishop d3 I think as well. You just win the knight on c3.
Yeah, this one is like
no, you don't win.
queen
the
d4, queen d4, bishop e3, queen f6.
I just thought it's that simple. You go to d3 and yeah, queen d4, and I keep forgetting the fact that the queen is protected. Yeah.
Maybe there is something like this one. I
Bishop
don't know.
c7. Finally, yeah,
Yes,
winning
probably.
material. Yeah, so black set up. Yeah, the moment I realized that after black takes on d5 and you can move the bishop, I suspect, yeah, well, we found one line, and this one is like really, really good for white. But in general, like this structure, if queen is getting stuck on a5, white has decent compensation, like
Right.
possibly, like, you know, going for a kingside threats. So this might be the way to play for white. You go d5, he pins you, and then even if this like a3 doesn't give you anything concrete, you just leave the pawn there, let black take, and then play for an issue.
Yeah, right. So it was our first like initial investigation, but it may
Mhm.
be correct.
And once again, we don't know if knight c6 is the move Wesley So will play, right?
Yeah, so now he's thinking and probably
Does he have like... Okay, he has an option
he may
of playing queen f5 for
or
instance.
97.
Or knight d7, yeah, but then I wasn't sure. I mean, what, how do you react to
Like
the
d5,
anyway?
e5, and d6 probably. Yes.
So you mean
I saw that this is the
This-
main idea.
this line? So that if bishop leaves,
Because otherwise I'll play bishop d6. Okay, I may be slightly worse because of c6 square, but
yeah, that will be very complex. We can show as well this structure. Bishop goes to, say, e3, whatever.
E3, yeah.
And black blocks the passed pawn with bishop d6.
and also I think, as we know, that it is a good sign for black if they can trade the pair
Dark
of
square
bishops.
bishop-
yeah,
yeah,
maybe they
bishop
can start
c5
with
is
bishop
another-
c5.
Another option, yeah. So structure-wise, anyway, even if black simply blocks the pawn, like goes bishop d6, yeah. Another interesting observation. So these structures, they are typical. You can have
Yeah.
it from different, let's say, games. And apart from the pawn structure, you have to look at the pieces which are on the board. And it usually it really helps white if he has a knight in such position. So add another pair of knights, like white knight on c3, black knight on f6. Then white always has ideas of knight b5,
Yeah.
and if the
Or
knight
bishop
from
e5,
f6.
bishop c6. Yes.
Yeah, so there are always ideas. And being as it is, somehow black seems to be very, very solid, yeah? And bishop c5, your other move, instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
bishop d6 is probably even better.
Okay, but bishop c5 is connected with some forced variations. I mean, after
d6.
d6,
d6 anyway. You know?
but still maybe I'm optimistic.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
you can just
taking-
take on queen c5 and
takes queen
it's
c5.
very, very unclear.
Well, it is.
If I'm not blundering bishop f7 there.
Bishop f7, and then
Which
just
can be
take.
true. And just take queen e3. Yeah, yeah. I mean, just rook f2 at least. Or king h1, king f7, queen d5. I mean, this one.
Bishop f7, rook f7,
Yes,
rook
and,
f7.
and this one is impossible.
So the main point is that black cannot capture on f7 in this position because of queen f3 check, and the rook is gone from a8.
So it was all position like a few moves before, but now...
Well, in general, it doesn't feel right for black to give white this pawn on d5. Can he start with rook d8? By the way, to
Yes,
sort of
that's the
to
point.
stop. No, he did play knight c6. He did play.
Yes,
he
West
just
play
played
knight c6
and
let's see
then
what will be.
we do expect d5, right? Because for white it doesn't make sense to wait with this move. Black is getting perfectly ready to
Yeah, I mean,
play.
like, if it would be black to move, they'll just play rook
rook
f8,
d8 and the
rook
pawn is
a8,
gone,
yeah,
yeah.
and they're just better. Yeah, so g5 is probably the move that you can make in a few seconds. Just evaluating the possible perspectives if we do know this.
Yeah, so he'll probably play d5, and then we'll see what Wesley So's reaction is gonna be.
And then we will see our miscalculations.
Yeah, well, he'll play d5. Wesley So's going to take, and then easily save the position which we claim to be really bad.
That would be a shame for us.
And we have one more game, which we hope to be and expect to be really exciting, at least before the start of the round. So let's go there. So it's the game between Nakamura and Dubov we are talking about.
Well,
let's go there. Let's see what happens. That's the current position. Once again, Hikaru Nakamura with white against Daniil Dubov. Is it Tarrasch defense? Not quite, yeah?
Yeah, it came from English opening.
G3, E6, knight F3,
yes,
D5.
but it's transposed to Tarrasch, really.
Yeah, that's like pure Tarrasch defense. Knight C6, bishop G2, takes. Okay, not sure of this one. It's one of the lines, perhaps. CD4, bishop C5.
Yeah, I saw that bishop E7 is the main move. It's like probably.
Yeah, well, there is also this line where black doesn't take on D4, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like here,
like starting with
you can play bishop E7. No, it's black to move, right? Bishop E7, castles, and
there is a bishop G5 and like Karpov's bishop A3 probably there. Or also take on C5, bishop C5,
takes bishop
and
G5,
A3 or bishop
this is
G5,
also another line, yeah. Alright, so in our game, CD4, knight D4, bishop C5.
Which is also very uncommon. I saw that bishop E7 probably is
I think bishop E7 looks like the main move. But Daniil...
Yeah, he has I mean, like, sometimes he has new ideas, or sometimes he somehow refreshes all the ideas which were considered as not working and not good, but he makes chess look very, very fashionable and new.
Okay, so after bishop C5, knight B3 looks logical, tempting. Move with the tempo, bishop B6. 6 minutes spent on castle short, because D5 pawn was on offer, by the way. That's why bishop C5 is not very popular move.
Yeah, let's see how many minutes has Daniil spent, I mean, for all game.
Till that moment he
like
barely used any
like
time.
Yeah,
Seconds.
38 seconds
38
for
seconds for bishop B6. Yeah.
And then 7 seconds for D4 there. Knight A4, castle, bishop G5, rook E6, rook E8, 26 seconds.
Still in the book.
Yeah.
Knight takes, pawn takes.
So no new moves for Daniil.
Knight takes, pawn
up to now.
takes. E3 and D3.
8 seconds.
Yeah, obviously, because anything else doesn't make sense, I believe. I mean, you don't want to take on E3 because you give your opponent once again the option to swap the queens and
again, like
leave himself
play against a pair of bishops, which is in this pawn structure can be just a suicide.
Okay, now white can capture on F6, and black will have to decide then. What does he do? I mean, I don't think he can allow himself to take with G pawn. He probably will have to take on B2, or who knows?
Yes, but yeah, if I take with G pawn, probably the most principle for white is to, I mean, to play queen H5, not to allow playing bishop F5. Yeah, so bishop F6 is
we
played by
might see it.
Hikaru.
Yeah,
because otherwise I'll just play bishop F5, play bishop G6, and I don't feel the.
Yeah, it's like the king is safe. Yeah, I mean, why did we start it all that? Why Hikaru took on F6? Because white has a lot of good factors in his position, but he's got a very serious problem, which is black's pawn on D3. Right, so by doing this, we are trying to push black towards, like, you know, the direction like you take with the queen, and then I'll take your pawn, and maybe you'll be slightly worse. And black doesn't accept to be slightly worse. He says, "Yeah, I'm ready to play this picturesque-looking position with how many? Okay, all the pawns that are on the board are weak for black.
Yeah, with 2 doubled pawns.
4
doubled pawns.
Pawn like on D3, pawn on H7. Yeah, so everything isolated, like a lot of weaknesses. So playing for initiative, playing for actually betting on the D3 pawn. Right.
Yeah, but personally, I don't see a move that can lead to advantage for white, because if I play queen h5, aimed against the ideas that I mentioned before, I think black can easily react with rook e5. I mean,
Queen
so just gaining a
H6,
tempo.
let's say.
Okay, if I just simply do the same.
Ah, you still want the bishop on f5, yeah? Yes.
And this rook maybe can enter the game.
Rook
playing
a4.
rook a4,
Yeah, I was looking at it. Yeah. Rook a4.
at some point. So it's not so clear. I mean,
Okay, let's put it this way: with such a lot of weak pawns, I don't really think that black can win. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, obviously, if white makes mistakes, black can win.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, usually in such situations, there should be a path for white to, you know, for example, I'm going to simplify, take the d3 pawn, and will end up being pawned down. But thanks to the fact that black has, I mean, somehow I will, I don't know, in some position we'll find a way, like go knight d4, for instance, trades, and then take the pawn.
yeah, I asked the
on
same
d3.
question for myself, but
So far I don't see it, yeah?
currently, knight d4 is not working
No,
for white.
knight d4 is not working.
Knight c1 is not working. Okay, maybe I can just
Wait,
start with queen d2, but
the other version, what does my knight on b3 do? Maybe I don't need to win the pawn immediately, maybe I just have to regroup
Like
somehow just
a3?
to put it, yeah, to go a3, to put the knight on d2. Something like that. You know,
But
rook c1. Yeah, it's like I'm accepting the fact that I will be playing this position on, not eliminating the pawn on d3, which is somewhat dangerous. But on the other hand, yeah, black, as of now, doesn't really have plans of, let's say, pawn breaks, because the pawn's structure is so crumpled. It's like, okay, you can you can have bishop f5 if you want, rook c1, for instance.
okay, I should I admit that bishop c6 is probably working, but it's not the move that you really want to make.
Bishop c6, knight d4? Or?
Yes, but knight d4, I think I can start with bishop e4, provoking for f3, or there's something like queen g4 check.
Wait, you can go bishop h3 if you like.
Yes.
And there is, well, if I'm not mistaken, there isn't an
Yeah.
exchange sacrifice. Yeah, at first I thought,
Because
like,
of
okay,
c5,
white takes on d3, but there is c5.
Yeah.
There is c5, so black obviously not taking the rook, but instead just wins the piece with c5. No, he has to play slowly, I believe, like rook to
Otherwise-
c1, then maybe rook to c3, knight d2, you know. So first, making sure that the pawn, okay,
Yeah, like surrounding the pawn.
yeah, we are not able to take the pawn immediately, so let's block it and then somehow maybe simplify the position. And
now probably something like rook c6, even a threat,
once again,
if I'm not mistaken.
that's
No,
like
but-
rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. You know.
and bishop e4, and it's still
Yeah,
very
once
bad.
again, somehow the bishop on g2 is nice.
Yes, a3 is played by
The bishop on g2 is nice. I'm not sure if I want to, let's say, to exchange my bishop from g2, even winning a pawn.
So let's see how many seconds will Daniil spend to his next move.
one
I bet on less than 10.
a3 should be, yeah, should be known. Should be known.
Bishop f5.
If the whole plan is bishop f5, we don't know. Yeah, bishop
bishop
e6,
e6.
see? Bishop e6.
So black's idea is to eliminate this blocking knight probably, and then just to triple or double on d file.
And push the
and-
pawn forward.
Yeah, or just leave it on d3.
Yeah, wait. The other thing could be that he's gonna play bishop d5. For instance, knight d2. I was gonna play knight d2 anyway, so
Yeah, but maybe I can start with rook c1. I mean, like,
starting with rook c1.
I'm not sure that I really want to take in this exact position on b3.
Yeah, no, you are not taking on b3, I believe. Rook c1. I don't know.
Like
he
maybe
didn't
queen d6 now, and
I can smell a bit of a bluff, to be honest, from in this
From black.
position. Yeah,
like rook c3 or
rook c3, right? Rook d8. Oh, so just to protect everything.
Yes, so knight d4 is not working still.
Knight d4 doesn't work. And white doesn't work, we can show. Knight d4, black takes, and if white takes on d3, yeah, knight f3, or knight e2 in this case, yeah.
Knight e2 is more solid.
Knight e2. Yeah, otherwise white would win the knight back and be better, simply.
So
Yeah, so
bishop e6.
bishop e6. I mean, one of the ideas could be that you just go bishop, especially if the knight leaves to d2, that you go bishop d5, and if white takes, you take with the queen, then put the knight on e5.
Right.
It's weird, because I just said a minute ago that white wants to simplify. Depends, of course, on what you are exchanging, right? So if you exchange like all the stuff, leave a pair of knights, then I believe this d3 pawn is not going anywhere. White puts the knight on d2 and then comes with the king and probably might be even winning. But this will not happen.
There we
The
can
will
see some
control.
lack of space for white. I mean, because of this post pawn, black have some squares to
So one more version.
develop.
One more version. What white, alternatively, what white can do?
Yes, but the two main moves are rook c1 and knight d2.
Rook
I mean,
c1, knight d2. Yeah, can't think of.
in others, I don't see any sense.
Can't think of much more.
So rook c1, for example, because bishop b3 is not really a threat.
I like a queen d6. Queen d6, yeah. Yeah, and something like that will happen, in fact. Like rook c3, rook d8, white will finally...
And maybe now I can play
Now
knight
you
d2,
start with knight
because
d2,
there is
okay.
some probably extra tempos.
And let's say even with a loss of a tempo, I go bishop d5. Why loss of a tempo? Because I just played queen d6 and now I'll take on d5.
I thought I have this
Check.
kind of idea.
King moves. To h8, let's say.
And you know, like I wanted to play queen e4, but then I realized that you can take and rook g8.
Takes, yeah, rook g8.
And this can be a bit
f3 though. f3, king f2. This is...
Is it an unpleasant position for white?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's very concrete, I believe, because white will have king f2 and then put the
E4
bishop on
probably
f1, you know.
Yeah.
Rook f to d1, bishop on f1, and it's...
So this
Once
may be
again.
not so bad idea as I thought. Yeah, but I think that
queen f4,
the white
you
mo-
mean forces
Yeah,
the
forces the
queen's
endgame.
trade.
yeah, because if we trade the queens, then we trade the bishops. The knight is blocking the pawn. Then I'm doubling on c file,
Yeah.
and my king barely slowly moves to the center. And I think that black have too many weaknesses in their camp.
Yeah, that's the general feeling. Like black has too many weaknesses. Black has many weaknesses. The other factor is that black's knight on c6 is like not really joining the action. It's like you'd like to have a square on d4 or say b4 or c2 something.
Yeah, so up to now the only joker in black's position is the g3 pawn. I mean,
By the way, we have too many double pawns. Let's maybe try to undouble something.
about how b5.
Why did we play queen d6? Because
Instead
we
of-
liked it for some reason, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, b5 here doesn't make all that much sense. The knight will jump to c5,
Yes.
yeah? So queen d6 was kind of clever. Then the knight goes to d2 and there are some knight e4 threats. Knight e2.
Yeah, like knight d2. Maybe I can start with even ugly
So
f5.
We'll
or-
just play f5.
Yeah.
Okay. White plays what we said, rook c3.
Queen h5. I like. Or rook c3, as you wish.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's, you know, in terms of long-term plans, we can say that, yeah, white will try to surround the d3 pawn.
I believe that the game may end just like
Like this and then some
yeah,
perpetual.
yeah. Why not?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, once again, we don't know the evaluation, right? And I'm not sure if Nakamura knows the evaluation.
Yes.
But the feeling is that Dubov knows. You know, so then
And
if,
he may be bluffing.
if such thing occurs that white has white will play queen h5, let's say threatening perpetual check, then Dubov, from Dubov's reaction, if he will allow
yes, but
perpetual,
maybe let's start from the point that at least white can make a draw almost anyhow.
There. Yeah, once again, it's like not forcing draw. But
yes, but
again,
a lot of ways to equalize.
That's what we said. So with so many weaknesses, yeah, white normally has a way or two to just simplify and as I said, maybe possibly somewhere dropping a pawn, but then it won't be possible to win for black. Because the king's safety is very important, strangely enough. In such positions where your opponent has, let's say, a pawn on d3 with a lot of pieces, right? The pawn will not promote.
Obviously.
Normally, with like 3 heavy pieces controlling d1, the pawn will not promote.
And with this pawn structure.
Yeah, but it takes attention of your pieces, right? So you will have to keep the knight on d2 blocking the pawn and everything. And usually in positions like that, the fact that your piece is tied down to the passed pawn allows your opponent to, to redirect his forces towards your king. But now white king on g1 is really, really solid. Even the semi-open g file so far doesn't look like black will create some stuff on g file, right? Daniil plays rook c8, and once again, I don't think he spent all that much time.
Almost immediately. I can refresh the board just to know how many seconds he spent for playing rook c8. 8 seconds.
8 seconds. Barely spends any time. So what happens now after? Rook c3, black as well might have knight e5, yeah?
Yeah.
Another thing.
Yes, but it's a little bit unclear because after rook c3, knight e5, maybe now you give me a chance to play knight e4. And there I'll feel much more comfortable.
Once again,
like d4 probably is
this is weird, like after knight d4, look, if white...
You just take and play bishop c4?
Take on c3, takes and... I don't know.
So the question is if f4 is really a threat.
As like knight on d4 makes white feel safe to a certain degree, right? So it's like the d pawn will no longer be that dangerous. But at the same time, even if white, let's say, snatches on b7, so black goes bishop c4 and white takes on b7. Yeah? It's black to move here, so bishop c4, bishop b7. It's hard to say if white immediately becomes better or much better. Yeah, the d3 pawn is still alive.
Yes, but I mean, like in very
queen
few
h5
moves, they'll play queen d2, rook b1, and surround it somehow, or queen h5. So
okay, hard to say.
I'd prefer white's position.
Wait a sec. So does it mean Nakamura has spent? Yeah, but looks like Nakamura has spent all the time that was spent by the players in this game. Yeah. Yeah. So Daniil Dubov is still on 1 hour 30 something. Yeah. 32. Which makes it even more interesting. Rook is still on c1. Hikaru Nakamura is thinking, and let's move. Well, I wanted to say move on, but let's move back to the game where we started it all from. Peter Swidler against Radoslav Wojtaszek. And it becomes sort of a pattern that usually in modern chess, the player with black pieces is better prepared. I mean, it's much more often you see it, right? Because with white, you want to get some play, you want to get some original position. And the perimeter for black is the perimeter you have to hold with white. It's like you prepare 1 d4, for instance, and your opponent can play Naidov, Grunfeld, Nimzo, this, that, and you don't know what to expect.
Yes, but I think that most of top players or just professionals are convinced in the fact that white might have some advantage from the opening, and they're trying to, to learn all perimeter to... They want to prove that white have an advantage in every single opening, and that's why they have to spend more time proving that than black just playing a good opening. For
I don't know. I've heard from people the opposite opinion. So that black as of now, let's say the opening stays very good for black. Like,
Yes,
and then in order just to get something.
Yeah, I mean just a new idea
for the game, not to be like dried out from the start. Once again, it depends on the opening. Like if your opponent plays the King's Indian, then that's kind of a good sign that at least you'll have the game. Yeah, but if it's like some Queen's Gambit accepted, for example, and what can happen to you? It will be 25 moves of theory. You get in the end some position which is evaluated like 0.20 for white, and you and your opponent, you both know that this is impossible to win.
Right.
So sometimes something like that can happen. Okay, in our game, at least, we have every single unit on the board. So not a single pair of pawns being exchanged. Bishop b1, your move, was played. We were looking at this
Peter
position
spent 7
here.
minutes.
Peter went
on
bishop
it.
b1. But yeah, it turns out it doesn't make all that much of a difference, because later on he went d4, and later on the bishop returns back to d3. Queen b7.
Yeah, so the question is, if white can play e5 there immediately, so we should consider d takes e5 as a principle, like take and probably bishop e3 there.
Bishop f3, maybe that's the whole thing.
If we're not blundering anything.
No, like if
Like
queen takes
take-
knight e5, that's seems to be no. Oh wait,
Like,
Well,
no, it's not working.
queen g3,
Bishop d6,
bishop d6, yeah, and bishop f4 there is knight f3, yeah.
or knight f3, or knight c4 probably.
Knight c4 could be as well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why Peter played bishop
Okay, I
e3.
mean he can. Sometimes they take with the pawn in this line. I mean, like e5, yeah. One more
Yeah.
time. Our move e5, d takes, bishop f3, g f3, which leads to
Yeah.
really complex position where obviously white doubling the pawns he keeps the pawn on
should I
e5
play
alive,
play
yeah,
knight
knight
d5?
d5, yeah, for instance, and I don't know what that, like f4 or something. I mean, I just mean just want to mention this one as an option.
Yes.
Not
It
claiming
remains
that
complicated
this is
after
any
g6,
good, yeah,
and
like
it's just
G6
playable
something.
probably.
Right, Peter wants to keep it all flexible, so bishop to d3, bishop a4 I suspect is
Was not
not-
considered by both
yeah,
players.
queen b7,
Yeah, but by the way, maybe we
bishop
should
a4, I believe bishop
explain
a6,
why bishop
yeah?
a4, yeah. Bishop a6 or
Yeah.
maybe e5 there. I mean,
Yeah, e5 is actually strong, yeah, e5
and something
to do?
will happen.
it's like you cannot take on e5 at all.
Yeah, because
D
queen
takes, D
e4 at the
takes,
end,
yeah,
yes.
that's a nice little double attack. Queen d5, attacking the bishop on a4 and the pawn on h7. So you have to move the knight immediately to d5. Then one more time, how do you reject bishop takes a4 with black? You think after this, white can take on a6 if he wants, but
Yes.
possibly he has something better.
More, yeah.
So why would I enter this position? Yeah, something better might as well be bishop g5, and knight bishop h7. I don't know if it works.
There's a lot of opportunities for white. I
Yeah.
was also considering e takes d6, because black have to take with the bishop.
Mhm.
Otherwise, maybe I have 100 of extra tempos in this position. Maybe knight e5 just
yeah, maybe
killing
just
immediately,
winning,
or something like this. So,
yeah. So bishop takes, and then knight c4.
or maybe bishop g5 is.
I mean, I don't know if it works. Bishop g5, bishop takes g5. We can take with the knight simply.
Yes, you
Because
mean like yeah,
first I thought about this sacrifice, like bishop takes h7 after bishop g5.
yeah.
But it probably doesn't work. But this h6, queen e4.
Maybe we can start with this one again.
And to go to e4, yeah.
I mean, like, and this one. No,
yeah.
I mean just gaining.
Lot of tamping.
Yeah. I mean, it
Okay, bishop
may be
a4
something.
is extremely risky, or rather was extremely risky, because this pawn was not taken. So queen b7 was played. Bishop went to g5. h6, bishop h4. Bishop h4 is on the board, and Wojtaszek is thinking. By the way, last move h6 took him 7 minutes and 40 seconds to make. So from now on, Radoslav Wojtaszek, being an opening specialist as he is, still is on his own. That's clear. I mean, I don't really think he was analyzing this position.
Yeah, probably. Maybe
well,
because of the fact that in this exact opening there is a lot of transpositions and a lot of different move orders, but still the position remains almost the same, but with a little adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like let's say in terms of plans, in terms of a structure, that's of course well known, but you know, with a bit of a twist, let's say.
Yeah.
C takes d4, played. Now, perhaps
knight.
Knight, you think?
No, I mean
knight
just
takes, then he's gonna take a4.
I would take with pawn, but at least I would just spend a few minutes to understand if knight d4 is such a bad move in this position. It may be not, I mean.
Knight d4, okay, bishop a4 is my main concern. Otherwise, I'm fine with knight d4. Bishop a4, and so far I don't see how white is getting the pawn back.
Right.
It's like you can play b3, take on c6, take on a6, but then c3 pawn is hanging.
Yeah.
No, he probably shouldn't. He probably shouldn't. No, and anyway, c takes d4 seems to be the most logical move. And then once again, principal line would be to take the pawn on a4. But then white once again can go e5. Seems to be pretty sharp, actually.
Seems to be pretty dangerous for black.
You can't, once again, still you cannot take on e5, right?
Yeah, with the same idea, but
same thing. Knight d5.
Knight d5, and there's a lot of
tricks this way.
Yeah, very delicious opportunities.
Wait,
first,
wait,
yeah,
queen
first of all, yeah,
e4.
we're winning just
Yeah,
immediately, right?
there are no tricks.
Yeah, maybe f5, but no, but f5 I just take and
on
yeah, we're just crushing. Yeah, so the point
okay,
that
so
after g6 is
g6, bishop e7, and there is a pin. Yeah, black cannot take back on e7.
Yes, but what to do?
What else? What else?
Because probably g5 is a threat in some positions. Or maybe I just simply I'm going to play b3 next.
Yeah.
And we'll see what
look,
black is going to do.
rook e8 might be the moves then.
f8, I guess.
Yeah, rook f to e8. To defend the bishop, well, in some positions, the fact that the king has f8 square might be useful, or the knight has the f8 square,
right.
because one of the maneuvers would be knight d7
knight
to f6, and then knight
to g6.
to f8, yeah, and then knight to g6. The rook e8 would be typical, but then, you know, the position of knight on a3 is perfectly justified, because now white, if he wants, he can go e5, or to start with knight c4, or just to go e4. Yeah, maybe start.
I mean, just I'm
start with knight c4.
I'm preventing black idea to play knight e8 because of this one.
Takes, yeah.
Probably black can take with pawn, but I think after g5
Yeah,
it doesn't
here you
look.
go d5. You have to happily.
Yeah,
d5,
I mean, positionally
e
it may be lost for black. Yes.
Yeah, these are usually very, very dangerous for black.
Yeah, so we start with knight c4, and then
you want to play e5.
black has some lack of moves, really.
d5?
Yeah, d5, but maybe
d5? That might be why
Yes.
I wanted to go d e5.
yes, you're right. Probably
first.
d5,
Yeah,
and we
d5.
receive the good pawn structure there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe knight c2. Or e5 immediately.
Yeah, that's like the most direct approach is to go, of course, to go e5, and then
A lot of black. I mean,
Yeah,
starting
he
from,
can take
from
on
bishop f3,
3.
probably pawn takes.
Yeah, most likely pawn takes. He goes knight d5. I no longer like it for white.
Yes, because at this position, the bishop is protected with the rook, and they can just simply take with the rook, and probably after e takes d6 just start. Maybe no. This is a bit unclear.
Yeah, but wait a sec. Here, after queen e4, black could take the bishop. This queen h7 is not such a big threat. Queen h4, yeah, like this. Just take on h4.
Ah, yes, you're right. But what about
Takes
check and e takes d6?
knight f6.
Yes, and
d7 to f6 to be precise. Check, knight g8, bishop h7. The other knight to f6.
it is. This one is very funny.
Bishop h7, the other knight to f6. And actually it wouldn't be bad for white if he would be able to attack the f6 knight with something. Ah, no, knight h7. Even this is...
So they have a threat
yeah,
now.
that's pointless. That's absolutely pointless. Yes, and maybe no straightforward way. Maybe no straightforward way. Maybe I no longer like my e5.
You know, like, by the way, I can start with... I mean, after bishop h4, I can start with this one. But at least you can take on f2 and play knight d7, f6, and it may be just worse for white.
Knight f6 immediately as...
Yeah, well, knight f6, I wanted to gain a pawn.
That's a better version.
Yes, you're right, and...
Yeah, so why am I in such a hurry to play e5 on the other hand? I just completely forgotten about this bishop f3 idea. Then maybe knight c2, indeed. As we decided to keep the center kind of flexible for as long as possible. Maybe
now we have some ideas connected with knight b4 also.
Yeah, by the way. So let's one more time say that black only wants to play d5 if e5 is not the reaction.
Yeah.
Right? Same goes for e5. I mean, in this particular position, you don't want to play e5 because you lose the bishop. But even on the previous move, can we go one move back? It's like, for instance, black plays e5, d5, and takes the pawn. Usually, once again, it would be very dangerous, right? Or not here.
Yes, but
I would still say that
the center is very clear.
White should be, white should be like...
Yeah, so we are fixing the pawn structure in the center, not allowing white very, active possibilities. So that's why e5, at least it seems very logical.
Maybe we are not taking, yeah? Maybe we are not taking.
Maybe we just can pass and play in place
now
of
knight c4, so that there is no d5.
So yeah, if there is no tactics, just it may be worse for black because we gave up an f5 square also.
The whole thing looks worse then, and I'm wondering what, first of all, what was Wojtaszek's, say, opening, I cannot say preparation, but anyway, looks like Peter's idea, or rather Peter's concept of not giving Radoslav Wojtaszek anything concrete, like not giving him the possibility of equalizing, or rather getting the play from the opening immediately, but forcing him into maneuvering stage where, like experience counts for something, was a wise decision right from the start. So to go for this line with a check, and then, to keep maneuvering. We, of course, do not know how the game is going to progress. I'm not yet sure that white is like better, much better, something, but the goal achieved. He's getting the play,
and Peter is pressing, obviously.
Right, let's move on. Let's see something else. Вы не помните the other line from Sicilian.
And now the position is full of life.
It's getting more and more similar to like normal Sicilian knight of positions, right? Still, usually white has the light square bishop. This we had seen, right? Bishop e7, a5, bishop d2, and then he went knight d5, yeah?
Yes.
Takes, bishop g4, and this would have been kind of good for black. If he has the time, right?
Not really sure.
It would be good for black if he has the time. If let's say if he is able to build his usual thing with f5 and but it's really tricky.
I mean, at least white can take on g4 and they'll be like maybe slightly better because of the pawn structure.
Yeah, this a5 is very important.
Yeah.
A5, d5.
Yeah, but personally, I don't like the coordination of black's pieces. I mean, like, if you're forced to play bishop g4 at this exact moment, it's not a good sign. It seems to me. So that's why I think Wei's reaction to play a4 was completely understandable and very, very natural.
Okay, what black has to do now?
I don't know, maybe bishop f6 back?
If the bishop on g4 survives, because f5 is the problem.
Yes.
I think f5 is a big problem.
Maybe I still can play something like e4.
Yeah, bishop f6, f5, e4, okay, queen takes.
Yes, but you know, like, there is a lot of...
Bishop e2.
Yeah, but maybe there is still... No, knight g4, I just didn't take with bishop. Not...
So that's the trick. That's the trick. Because this would be very typical, by the way. Because it's like in many such positions,
yeah, so
you feel like black is almost lost, but with some tactic he's kind of keeping the balance.
Yeah, but rook f2, I mean, it's still forced, and we should have a mathematical solution of this problem. I mean, for both colors.
Queen b5.
Or maybe we can start with
rook
this
e8.
one.
Yeah, rook e8 is always nice. And now I feel like white will, you know, drop something. Queen a4 allows bishop b5, yeah? And then you go queen b4.
Yeah, but I think the black has some compensation there.
Yeah,
I mean,
black obviously has the compensation. No, I was worried about the bishop on e2. I don't care about giving the pawn, because so many open files, and the bishops are quite strong.
Yeah, maybe I can take on a4 and then play bishop b5, and then bishop
d4.
This
should be fine for black.
Strangely,
like takes, takes.
Maybe I should